Okay, so we're going tonight is the yard site of the Rebbe, Gimel Tammuz. And it's just two people here. Me and Eva. We're gonna do one-on-one, but everybody else can listen in. Um, but today is also has a historical meaning in the regular Jewish world as well, because today was the day that Hashem made the miracle that um, the sun stood still. Do you know about this miracle at all? You ever heard about this? Yehoshua with Joshua. So Joshua came and he was fighting one of the wars um, in order to conquer the land of Israel. And Hashem literally made the sun stand still. Um, what that means, I can't tell you scientifically. That would be hard to imagine. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
You have a private class.
Yes, that's right. That's right. But I was saying that we're going to today because tonight is the yard site of the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Okay.
So today we're going to dedicate some time to understanding uh, what is a Rebbe. Are Chabadniks really,
I love it.
are Chabadniks
Yes.
really Christians?
No, I
Like some people like to
understand.
tell us about
Yes.
us, or idolaters.
No, I need to
Um,
understand
yeah.
the
So
relationship.
I'll explain it a little bit. I'll try and explain. I'll try. But I was saying that today is also special because today was the day that Hashem made the sun stand still for Joshua.
Okay.
Tonight, yes, tonight, tomorrow. You came already and are already with very good. Wow, that was pretty quick. Um, it's also special because the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe was put in prison for um, his efforts to teach Torah to Jewish children in communist Russia, and he had a death sentence. He was supposed to be put to death, and the death sentence was changed from the death sentence to a slower death sentence, which was to be sent to what do they call it there? The Gulag. To Emma, what's the area called? To Siberia. He was sent to Siberia. But when it was changed from the death sentence to Siberia, was on Gimel Tammuz. And then 9 days later, through the efforts really of the United States government, he was ultimately freed on the 12th and 13th of Tammuz, which we're going to have a big party for that as well. Anytime we could say L'chaim is always good. Um, but let's focus on the Rebbe. Um, okay, so everybody knows that Chabad is Rebbe crazy.
Hello,
Just
Nini.
What do you mean,
with
just
us.
us? This
Buenos
is
días.
the best of the best is here,
Hashem.
Mama.
Ah,
Not just us.
llegué.
Oh, you? Okay. Um, so everybody knows that Chabad is Rebbe crazy. What I mean by that is that they're you have Lahavdil Swifties, right?
They're Swifties.
Right. So you have Swifties.
Swift.
Ah,
Okay.
Llaman Swifties.
I'm not so into him.
Go ahead, me either. But they walk around with their pictures of Taylor Swift and they try and dress like Taylor Swift and they want to know. So Chabad is we're Swifties, but I say Lahavdil because it's not related at all. But we certainly seem that way. You know what I'm saying? Where we're obsessed. We're obsessed with the Rebbe. Um, is it healthy? Is it good? Is it normal? Is it kosher?
I
It's
always wonder
fair questions.
why there's a picture of me
Yeah,
everywhere.
everywhere you go, exactly. Pictures everywhere you go,
It's
and not only that, whenever,
idolatry.
yeah, it could be. Is it idolatry?
¿Tiene frío?
I just turned it on this minute, so it's probably blowing in.
Are you cold? No.
Um, so is it idolatry? Not only that, when a Chabad rabbi stands up to speak, if he's doing his job properly, which many of us don't, he's normally repeating the Torah of the Rebbe. What? There's no other Torah. There's not. There's so many other beautiful things to be said. So why are we so crazy about our Rebbe? Like, what's going on? And is it allowed? Is it kosher? So we're going to try and answer some of these questions today. I don't know how good a job I'm going to do, but I'll try. I'll do my best. First of all, we'll go through some sources, and then we'll go to like a modern version. Okay, so let's start with a simple source. We say it every single day as part of the Shacharit service. And this is a verse from the Torah. It's not a verse from, it's not written by Taylor Swift. And this verse says basically that as the Jewish people went through the sea, at the splitting of the sea, and everything worked out okay, it uses a very unusual expression. It says, Vayaminu b'Hashem, and they had emunah in Hashem, but that's not the end of the verse. That's where you would expect it to end. Of course, Hashem brought them through the sea, and they have emunah in Hashem.
It actually didn't open until the first person.
That's also true. Also true. Yes. But the verse continues and says, Vayaminu b'Hashem, they had faith in Hashem, uve Moshe avdo, and in Moshe his servant. Why did they have faith in Moshe? Hashem did the miracles. You don't need a servant of Hashem to have faith in him. You have faith in Hashem. Hashem told you there's going to be a miracle. It's true that Moshe was the prophet. Moshe was the one who expressed everything that was going to happen. But why Vayaminu b'Hashem? They had emunah in Hashem, and they had emunah in Moshe. It's weird. Over Moshe Avdo. So that's going to be my first source. That we as Americans, or even South Americans, we find this whole idea to be very troubling. That there's like an intermediary, that there's somebody else, a human being that we look up to at such a high level. We believe in democracy. We elect our presidents. We're in charge of our presidents. Our presidents are not in charge of us. We are the individuals who are going to use our own talents to get ahead in life. What do we need another person for? We believe in God. We believe in ourselves. God, myself, game over. So it's a little weird for us to hear these words. Vayaminu b'Hashem uve Moshe avdo. What do we need the Moshe in the picture?
No, humans always need a leader.
Okay, very good. So you're going to say that he is a leader. And I'm not going to disagree with you. He is certainly a leader. But
He's a messenger.
But if that were true, and I'm not disagreeing, he is a messenger. You're 100% right. The question is, at what degree do we look up to this messenger? Is he simply because Hashem doesn't have WhatsApp, so he sends it to Moshe, and Moshe puts it on WhatsApp? Is that what it is?
Without Moshe, how would you have the Torah?
You're exactly right.
I mean, God probably could have put it there in another way.
Maybe, but I agree with you. So let's imagine that Moshe was here today.
Okay.
And we could speak to Moshe. What do you think that relationship would be like? How do you think that would be?
You're saying that the rabbi, it's Moshe?
I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going to. You're very smart. You ran ahead. You ran ahead, but very good.
Respect.
Okay. But you can respect a lot of people.
I know that through history, Moshe was the one that Hashem chose to be the messenger, or the. How do we know that the Rebbe was the one?
That's a very fair question. Let's get there soon. First, I'm just trying to introduce what is Moshe to begin with. What is his job? What is his role? How do we look at Moshe? What does Moshe do for us? What do we do for Moshe? What is that relationship? What's that all look like?
He's an influencer.
An influencer. Okay, let's go with it. but we have
No,
to give him
because
a
to
little
an
more credit than that.
influencer, I don't see it as.
Well, he have an influence on people.
Yes, we'll see. Mashpia is what we call it in Hasidic terminology.
No, you have a certain respect because he has proven he's in a higher level.
Okay, so let's start with that.
To an influencer, I don't feel that.
Yeah, of
Like, I don't
course.
feel you
They could be in a
like
lower
it.
level.
Exactly. And
I
they
agree.
don't
But maybe she just means in the word, the
no,
literal sense
they,
of the
no,
word.
no, but
Yeah, like not that he's
Right.
going
That
to
he has
put an
influence. No, no, right,
no,
right,
no,
right.
like, but what I feel like Moshe did or the Rebbe, they prove they have a higher level. They have a direct connection. They
Yes.
can do things that no one can do.
So let's go to another historical figure. Let's go. Very good. So let's just say that Moshe is able to do things that no one can do. Moshe has a direct line to Hashem, at least one way, meaning Hashem speaking directly to Moshe. But really, in truth, Rambam tells us it's in the Chumash itself that it was two ways, meaning Moshe was able to reach out to Hashem when he needed to and ask him questions, which is pretty crazy.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy. So if we could imagine such a person, first of all, is that not idolatry? To think that somebody could speak to the creator of the universe face to face, one to one, can talk to him
That
whenever
I
he wants.
understand when
Why?
people no,
I'm pushing back a little bit. Why do you understand that?
because they have a relationship. Like if you need an answer,
Somebody, if I came to you today and I said, the reason I'm teaching you today is not because I learned Torah, because I could teach you Torah. I'm teaching you today because God speaks to me whenever I want.
Well, it depends.
I
It depends who you are.
show
Would you really? You wouldn't even ask me a proof. You would call the doctor.
Of course,
No,
But let's say we'll go with it.
That's
This week's
so-
parsha, she's right. This week's parsha, Korach,
if there was a proof,
right? So Korach is asking for this. One could make the argument, and I'm going to put this parenthetical till we get to the end of the conversation. But one could make the argument that today people who call followers of the Rebbe idolaters might be the Korach of our generation.
Ooh.
mm,
¿Qué cara? No entendí.
en la parasha,
The parsha of this week is Korach was a cousin of Moshe,
Okay.
and he led a rebellion against Moshe.
Jealous.
He was jealous. He was jealous. But the language he used to make his rebellion was not about his jealousy. Because if he was going to speak about his jealousy, nobody would follow him.
Okay.
So the language he used was very beautiful language, and language I agree with in many ways. The language was, why are you making yourself great, Moshe? Is not the whole nation holy?
It's not about you.
And the whole nation is holy. What makes you a step above? You just said that Moshe is a step above, or maybe the Rebbe is a step above. Let's say, let's pretend. I'm not disagreeing. I happen to agree with you. But Korach, Moshe's cousin, says, Moshe, why are you making yourself so big? The whole Jewish nation is holy. And he even brought examples. For example, he said, if I have a room full of Jewish books like this, does the Torah add anything? The actual Torah scroll, does it add anything to these books? Do I need a mezuzah? He says. I don't need a mezuzah. I have the I have the Torah itself in the room. What do I need a mezuzah for? Or he said, if I have a talit, all made of the blue wool that they used to use on the tzitzit, the techelet. Very good. If have a talit, all made of techelet, why do I need to put some extra strings on it for?
and he did.
The whole talit is techelet. So he says, Moshe, it's the same thing here. The whole Jewish people is techelet. The whole Jewish people is holy. What do I need a mezuzah? What do I need these extra strings for? What's your role? That's what he's asking him. I would argue, perhaps, and say that the people who are jealous, number one, But number two, let's just pretend that they're doing it for all the right reasons. I've never found that to be true. But let's pretend they're asking these questions for all the right reasons. Um, this looks like Korach to me.
But he had an agenda.
I think everybody who has these questions, who asks these questions, every rabbi or every, what's it called, who asks these questions has agendas too. I believe so. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. I could be wrong. I'm wrong many times. That's what I would say. But that's now we're getting now we're playing politics already. I'm not talking about the politics. Let's get back to the but it's a good point. It's a Korach conversation. Let's get back to the theories first. Let's go to the theories. Um, so let's forget if the Rebbe is Moshe or not, because that's what we're going to get to, and we can debate that and we can argue that. And certainly people can argue with me, and they may be right. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What do I know? But but
The thing with the Rebbe, when he was alive, people had his pictures all over,
sure,
or when he was.
sure, maybe not as much, but sure, his Hasidim did, sure. Look,
That's my only concern with
Yeah.
we'll
the
get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
pictures.
Now, I think you should be more concerned. There's much more profound concerns.
No, but the other things I can get.
You can have.
That-
Okay, we'll get there.
that-
We'll get there. I'll try
that-
and hit it all. I'll try and hit it all. Um, but imagine that Moshe was sitting here today, and you had the opportunity to go visit with Moshe and to talk to Moshe. What do you think that would be like? You know what I'm saying? What do you think it would be, that relationship would be of a good Jew with Moshe?
Question.
Tons of questions. Of course we would. We would constantly be asking questions. Not only that, if he ever offered an opportunity that he said, you know what, I'm giving a Torah class today. Can you imagine if Moshe offered a Torah class? What would the Jewish people do? They would line up. Of course, that's what would happen.
That's what did happen with the Rebbe.
That's correct. I'm not debating you, but I'm going. We're sticking to Moshe for right now.
Did you go?
Oh,
Yeah, sure.
billions of times.
I'm going to show you some videos of it at the end.
I was lucky because I lived there, but the amazing thing is that I'd say the Rebbe's one day you have to come to New York.
I've
Take
never
you there.
been.
Yeah, we'll make a trip.
Yeah.
Let's make a trip. We'll make the Tanya trip.
But you have to convince us that.
I'm not convincing anybody of it.
No, not convince me.
I'm letting you
I
know that
don't
in
want
advance.
convince,
I don't
but,
convince
but
anybody.
I wanna feel.
I'll
In
explain.
a way, I don't feel
Comfortable. Good.
comfortable.
I
Yeah,
agree. Good. That's
my-
fair. I accept that.
But maybe I'll
Right.
get to that point.
Today's the day to learn.
No, my kids, they all have been.
Right.
With,
That's what
but me, it's bad.
So let's keep
But
pushing. Now
the Rebbe's room is here, and that's where you would get the dollars, and the line would be down the block, this way to the next block, and all different kinds of people. And
but let's
the thing
keep
that-
pushing on the
but the thing
original
that was
thought.
very fun to see was that there was Amish people. You know the Amish with the little hat.
Yeah, I know.
They came every Sunday.
And you
It was-
lived like in that
I
block.
lived a few blocks away.
That's why you have so many dollars.
Let's imagine that Moshe Rabbeinu now, let's get a little more complicated. Moshe Rabbeinu did not only now offer a class, a Torah class, but he started making statements, and statements that, in your estimation, sounded a little bit different than the way you understood the Torah to be. I don't know, maybe he said that the Torah is not only for scholars, that the Torah is for everybody. And you always understood the Torah being for scholars. I'm just giving a silly example. It's an important example, but
What is called?
the studiosos.
Los estudiosos.
That the Torah is equally for somebody who studies it as it is for somebody who is out there playing soccer all day. Okay? He makes this statement. And it rubs you the wrong way a little bit, because you've been studying Torah for the past 30 years, and you're an expert, and you've dedicated your life to it. And this kid is out there playing soccer, and he comes along and he says that this kid is just as important as you are. That could bother you. But if it's Moshe Rabbeinu, you're going to say, you know what? I don't get it. I don't see it this way. But you know what? If you say so, Moshe, I'm gonna have to trust you because you're Moshe. You know what I'm saying? That's what it means. Vayaminu b'Hashem of Moshe Avdo. They trusted in Moshe. They didn't only trust him when they agreed with him. They trusted him that whatever he was going to do was the right thing. What do you mean whatever he's going to do is the right thing? He's just a person. People make mistakes. That's not what Vayaminu means. Vayaminu means that this man can be trusted, period. 100%, not 80%, not 60%, not 20%, 100%. If he says something, you trust him. We're not used to this. It's not the way we look at the world. I don't look at the world that way. There's nobody in the world who I trust like that. Nobody, except for myself. You're supposed to laugh, Mrs. Rosenberg. Literally, how can you trust somebody 100%?
That's pretty crazy.
That is crazy. But if Moshe was here, there would be at least some of the Jews, not everybody. You'll have Korachs also, but some of the Jews would trust him 100%. They would.
The word Korah also means, what does it mean?
Kerach is ice.
Look, Korach is a name. That was the
Okay,
cousin's
but
name.
it's a
It
Hebrew
also
word.
does mean, it does, the same letters makes up Kerach, which is ice. Yeah.
I can,
Oh, Korech, you're thinking of the sandwich at the...
no,
No? No. Okay.
no.
Now,
Koa, no.
I'm going to push a little further, and then we're going to go practical soon, and go to the Rebbe himself. Would you ask this guy, this Moshe Rabbeinu, would you ask him for advice in business?
Yes.
Why?
The same way I would ask someone who's savvy, like someone who.
But why? He doesn't do business. He's involved in teaching Torah and stuff. Why would you ask him about business? I'm not disagreeing with you.
No,
I'm pushing.
I believe he had, let's say, special powers. Like
To see things.
he would see things.
Sure.
Like there are people that I
Sure.
believe have
Okay.
that sense of
Very good.
looking
So that's not a problem.
prophet. I don't know.
Okay, a prophet, exactly. What about, would you ask him if you lost your dog? Your dog ran away. Would you ask him, where can I find it?
Same way, if he's a prophet and he
Very
sees
good.
things, he would-
That's what makes, I told you, we have the best of the best here.
What about
We have this exact same story already written in the prophets, in the Navi. King Shaul, the great King Shaul, how does he first meet Shmuel Hanavi, Shmuel the prophet? He was looking for his donkey.
really?
Yeah, he's looking for his donkey. And he goes to Shmuel the prophet, and he tells Shmuel the prophet, I'm looking for my donkey. Can you help me find it? And Shmuel says, I have a better idea. You're going to become king of Israel.
That works.
That's the story. That's what happened. Why was he going to Shmuel to find a donkey? Because Shmuel was the Moshe Rabbeinu of his generation.
Mhm.
Shmuel was not just a prophet, he was the prophet. That's who Shmuel was.
Yeah, I'm watching the TV show.
Have you
Oh, yeah?
seen the TV show?
No, oh, so you guys know. Okay, very good.
It's
Yeah,
I
I
never
so
heard of
good.
it.
No, no, no.
What is it? Never heard of it?
No.
House of David.
The House of David, but
Yeah.
it's so good. Like
Okay.
for me, it was hard to really to understand like
Claro.
The path, the story,
and
the
and
storyline.
who came after.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and it
And
started with
it's-
Shmuel and
Yeah.
Shaul arguing.
And this scenery, and
Scenery,
it's
oh, wow.
really good. It
Ah.
takes you back to those times, and
Cool.
very well done.
Anyhow, this was the way of the Jewish people, certainly for many, many, many years. Now, people make the argument that prophecy, and it's written in the Talmud like this, that prophecy was lost to a degree. So you can make that argument. We could have a conversation back and forth. That's much more technical. It's important. I'm not saying it's not important, but let's leave that alone for now. Let's just understand the basic idea that Torah has these humans, these people. They're human beings of flesh and blood. but they're a different kind of person. That's the only argument I'm trying to make. They're not normal people. They don't have the same emotions that we have. They don't have the same way of thinking that we have. It's a completely different reality. There's many more proofs. We don't have a lot of time. I'm not going to go through every single proof. I'll add one more thing, and then we're going to get one more Torah historical thing, and then we'll get to the Rebbe himself. There's a mitzvah in the Torah. It's one of the 613 commandments, and this mitzvah says, I can't remember the exact words. I think it's vidavakta boy, and you will. Devek in Hebrew literally means glue. You will glue yourself to Hashem. You're going to stick to Hashem. The Talmud asks a very simple question. How can a regular person like me connect to the infinite creator? The Talmud answers, you will connect to those who teach his Torah and those who know his Torah. That's vidavakta boy. The mitzvah, it's one of the 613 mitzvahs, is to connect to Talmidei Chachamim.
It's one of the 613.
One of the 613 mitzvahs. And it's through the connecting to the Talmid Chacham, it's not just for the purpose of connecting to the Talmid Chacham, it's to connect to Hashem himself. Which means that the job of the Talmid Chacham is to connect the Jewish people to Hashem. The job of the Talmid Chacham is to connect the Jewish people to Hashem. Our job is to connect to the Talmid Chacham. Talmid Chacham means a tzaddik. Let's call him a tzaddik. Now, again, people can argue with me and say, no, it means literally a Talmid Chacham, somebody who studies Hashem's Torah, and through Hashem's Torah you're connecting, and I don't debate any of that. It's all a good question. But that's technical, and that's not today's debate. The basic idea remains the same, that there is an idea of connecting to Hashem through people.
Through Torah.
Through people. The Torah does not say you connect to him through his Torah.
The job of a Talmud, the tzaddik, is to connect people to Hashem.
Yes.
Through. Okay.
Good question.
Okay.
That's where we can debate. That's where there's a lot of conversation. And I'm not going to answer that question 100% because we're going very technical and it's important. If we have more time, another time we can go into that. But the reason I'm debating you a little bit is only because otherwise the Talmud should have answered, how do you connect to Hashem? Through his Torah. Why does it say you connect to Hashem through the teachers of his Torah?
Because the connection through Hashem is through knowledge.
That's what you're saying, but that's not what the Talmud says. I'm not debating you. You're right. I agree with all that. One of the ways to connect to Hashem clearly is through studying his Torah, and by studying it, we've said it in the Tanya. By studying his Torah, you're taking his wisdom, and you're taking your wisdom, and you're surrounding his wisdom with your wisdom, and your wisdom is surrounded by his wisdom. You're right. I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's not what the Talmud says. The Talmud says, connect to the Talmidei Chachamim. As a matter of fact, the Rambam explains further, based on this Talmud and based on other places in the Mishnah. And it says that you should be meshamish a Talmid Chacham. You should serve a Talmid Chacham. We don't mean serve him like getting on your hands and knees. That's not what we're talking about. We mean serving him, bring him his lunch.
That it's written in the Torah.
In the Rambam, which is based on the Talmud as well. Bring him his lunch. Why bring him his lunch? Go to his Torah class. That's not what the Rambam says. The Rambam says, and it's based on Talmud. It's not Rambam, but I'm using the Rambam because he says it clearly. The Rambam says, do business with him, hang out where he hangs out, spend time with him.
The bring lunch was an example too.
Not the literal, but to serve him. Yes.
Explain to it, but
the means. Yeah.
How do you
yes.
to the Talmud?
Yes, he's not talking about going to his Talmud class, his Torah class. It means other ways. Okay, why? Because, here we can debate. There's a lot of conversation. I would say, because just being in proximity with these holy Jews automatically connects you further. Bringing these people into your life automatically connects you further. Now, is studying the Torah that they teach even better? Of course it is. I'm not debating that. Of course, you're right. But I'm saying it's not only the Torah that they teach that makes them unique and special. It's their whole life that makes them unique and special. And being involved in their entire life is part of this mitzvah of Vidavakta Bay.
Okay, but I have a question.
There's lots of questions. I'm literally just throwing out bombs one after another.
With the soccer
Right?
kid who was playing and the person who was studying for 30 years. When if the kid comes here and say, I wanna study Torah, and let's say that you're gonna be the one who teaches him about it, that's also make him connect to Hashem.
Sure.
So why the Rebbe was why not also the rabbis?
Yeah, of course. I'm not debating you. Right? There is truth to what you're saying. Everybody should bring me coffee.
Okay, how do you like it?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Bring
kidding.
it in class.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You're absolutely correct, because what you're suggesting is that by me teaching Torah, which I have learned and I have studied, and sharing it with somebody else, I'm helping that person connect to Hashem. There's no doubt about this. But that's the way we connect to Hashem, through Torah. But I'm suggesting there's an additional way to connect to Hashem, which is just by being close to the people who are already connected to Him. That's what I'm suggesting.
And it's not just because you can learn from even their.
That's correct. It's
their
not just because you
small
can learn from them.
direction.
That's correct. It's not just because by watching them you could see how to live a better life. That's also true.
In today's world, people who are connected to Hashem would be rabbis.
I don't want to say that. So a lot of rabbis are connected to money. A lot of rabbis are connected to women. A lot of rabbis are connected to
all the rabbis, but someone that you feel it's.
Could you
sure
that you know that you feel is really connected to Hashem? Doesn't have
but
to be
I don't know. I'm not
But
gonna.
it's a personal
no.
what you think.
No. I'm sorry. I'm going to push back a little bit. This is a unique relationship. We're not. Yes, there could be some rabbis today that have this.
No,
that could
because
fit
if
this
that's one of the mitzvah,
Yes,
and you
I'm
wanna
agreeing with
fulfill
you.
the mitzvah, it's not that easy to find.
So I'm gonna
Does it
just
have
throw
to
a
be-
bomb out there for a second. Go to the OL and you fulfill the mitzvah.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So I believe so. I really believe that. I'm not just saying
do
it.
you have any comments
Yeah,
We're gonna make
do it at the beginning of the year.
before
Yeah.
the holiday?
Maybe we'll do it in the summer too.
But
After the holidays, usually do after the holidays. This will be the fourth year we've gone.
You go.
With the
You don't
group of
go
ladies.
before Yom Kippur.
No, we go
after.
after Chagim. We go group of ladies, but this year they all had babies. Having babies.
so you'll take only this class
Yeah.
and they'll come next
I
year.
mean, so there's more people that want to come.
Or maybe they want to come with their babies.
But maybe also in the summer. Actually, I love going in the summer because quiet, easy time.
But let's just push a
Even
little
though
bit
he's
forward.
not alive. That's my.
Okay, so that's a fair question. These are all fair questions.
Connect to the people that are
Yes, no,
connected to
really,
God. He's not here
That's why
anymore.
he's saying I'm throwing out a bomb there. That's not a simple bomb to
Mhm.
throw out or to catch. Okay, it's a fair question. Your question's a fair question. Even if he's not alive, can we still connect him? And is that the right thing to be doing? Maybe we should be looking for somebody who's alive. And I think that that's all fair and good questions. I just threw it out there just for fun. It's not just for fun. I mean, I'm saying it for real. But I ran ahead.
But Raf,
Before what's it
there's two. There's also the point that people that you that are keeping Torah, because that's the first test if you can really take from them. The first test is, do they keep Torah and mitzvos? But people that you feel that are like, I know I have some friends that I feel that are above me in so many different ways.
That's not this.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's two different things, but it also says we should hang out with those people.
Okay, of course, sure. To get good influence, get good influences is always good.
But this is a different thing
This
that
is
you're
something
saying
else.
that That
I'm suggesting it's different. People can argue with me and say that that's all it means. I don't agree with that.
Only it's because of the things that I've been studying. It's not that I
Yeah, no, go ahead.
just learned the parasha last week, like read it. So I'm trying to see if I see something there in the parasha where it's supposedly Hashem is telling Moshe to grab the 70
Leaders, elders.
leaves. Sorry. For that moment, he took a little from Moshe. I don't know the word.
Va'atzalta. And he that's what it means. Yeah.
And he put it in each.
Yes.
So they could tell.
So,
What is that? A little bit of what?
A little bit of Moshe.
Hashem said,
well, maybe the influence of Moshe or the
Yeah. But it was to
to the
12, 10 tribes. To the
No,
to
no.
10.
Remember, we were studying
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the 70 with
the leaders. They were
from.
Remember 10. Yes. Because 70, it wasn't equally divided in 12. The 12. Yes, I remember.
Okay. That then two didn't show up and
Right.
the prophecy, whatever. Um, supposedly he made that. So how do we say in the Rebbe?
Did he do that? That's what you're
Yeah,
trying to say?
like
Why not?
because people you have to have a houses teaching the people.
Oh, maybe did the Rebbe do that too?
I
Yes, you did.
like the idea, except I'm just one of those Chabad rabbis, and I don't feel that way
No,
about
but you
myself.
can't say that.
But I'm going to.
But it's true. That's
Okay,
not
she
your
says it's
100%
true. I
right.
don't know. I like it.
Well,
I like the idea. I like the idea.
No,
That's
he
what it
created
means.
the movement.
Yeah.
So if he created the movement, then maybe he was trying to.
But
do some of
Allah
this.
is not alive, but you
Right.
still have Chabad.
Yes. Okay, but good.
No,
Fair
but
question. But okay,
those
but
are great. Those are great points. And
I know you would like to think
Hashem
that.
said, look, it's the same situation we have with Hashem. Hashem God Himself took Himself and put it into us. And yet sometimes we do bad things, sometimes we do good things. Sometimes we ignore that. It's the same thing with the shaliach. Yes, a person who is the Rebbe's shaliach is invested with something very special. Power of the Rebbe. Rafi and I definitely could say that any success we ever had in the shul is way over and above anything that we did. But at the same time, we don't always act,
Live up to our potential.
No
question.
confidence with
Especially him.
what we have. You know what I mean?
But I think it's a fair statement. Let's get back to the big picture, come to the Rebbe himself. So my argument, as you've already caught, is that I'm arguing that the Rebbe is a Moshe Rabbeinu of our generation. That's what I'm arguing. And I'm arguing that there was a Moshe Rabbeinu in every generation. Every generation has a Moshe Rabbeinu.
How long ago did he? Would say you're saying how many years?
32 years. So your question is
Who's the next?
who's our
Yeah,
good.
It's a generation.
All fair questions, and
32 years.
I don't have answers for everything, but I'll give you some basic ideas here. So, but before we go to your question, which is obviously one of the most important questions in this conversation,
Like maybe in another generation who was the Moshe of another generation.
you can. That's what I'm going to say, and that's kind of my first argument I want to make, is that. So first, I introduced the basic idea of what a Moshe Rabbeinu is, and we only touched on these things. These are huge questions. We're literally just touching on them. But the point is that a Moshe Rabbeinu is not like a regular person who just is a little bit better. It's a different kind of person. It's a person, but a different kind of person. And I'm saying that there's a Moshe Rabbeinu in every generation. That's certainly written about in the Kabbalah, not as much in the Talmud, but the Kabbalah speaks about that for sure. That there's an idea of Moshe Rabbeinu every generation, and so you're going to ask, how do we know who this Moshe Rabbeinu is? And I don't have the exact answer, but I can give you some basic answers. What was unique about Moshe Rabbeinu was not just that he was the Torah scholar. That's also unique about him. But that he was concerned about every single Jew. Every single Jew. Not just the ones who came to his shiur, not just the ones who followed his way of teaching, not just the ones who were joiners in his group. There were many great rabbis who did that, great tzaddikim, but they were connected to a group. A Moshe Rabbeinu is connected to every Jew. period. Every Jew. That's what made him so unique, is that he chased after one sheep. He ran running after this one sheep. And Hashem said, that's going to be the guy who's going to lead my people. Because it's not leadership. We mentioned it earlier. When people speak about the Rebbe as a great leader, okay, it's true, but it's so inconsequential. Donald Trump is a leader. You like him, you don't like him, I don't care. It's not important to me. He's messing up right now, but whatever. That's completely not my interest, because Vayaminu b'Hashem, not b'Donald Trump b'Avdei. I trust in God, not in Donald Trump. He means nothing to me. Okay, he's a nothing. He's a something. God chose him to be president of the United States, but that's so unimportant. Leaders, there's all different kinds of leaders, huh?
The
Kings can be leaders. There's all these different kind of leaders. No, and you'll even have leaders of movements, leaders of ideas, leaders of thought leaders, or influencers, if you want to go back.
Can you give another example?
Yes, yes,
Moshe,
yes. I was about to. Mordechai. Mordechai, from the story of Purim, was a Moshe of his generation. What did Mordechai do when there was a terrible decree? Mordechai did not go to his niece, who was already the queen. If you understand that as the story of Purim, you're missing the entire story of Purim. Mordechai did not go to Esther. He did not try and figure out, what can we do? Which political pull do we have? He does that later. That's not the story of Purim. What does Mordechai do? He gathers little children to come study Torah.
I didn't know.
He encourages the Jewish people to become more observant of Torah. He convinces them to keep kosher. He convinces them to do teshuvah. The first thing he does, it says, and if this is literal, some of the other things I'm telling you are not literal, they're found in the Medrash. The first thing he does is he put on sackcloth. Why sackcloth? Because he's trying to get it's un tela de.
murió alguien.
No, ¿cómo se llama este? No, they didn't do it before.
I'm saying, but sackcloth, they would put it on somebody.
I don't think they did. It's lo que hacen los.
They put like arroz or papas in esa bolsa grande.
Okay, here he was sitting in front of the king's palace, putting on this sackcloth. Why? Because he wants the Jewish people to do teshuvah. That was his first step. Because that was a symbol of mourning, and the Jewish people would ask him, why are we mourning? And he would tell them, because we have to do teshuvah. That's a Moshe. Not somebody who figures out which political things to pull. He's worried about the Jewish people. He's worried about their connection to Hashem. He's even less, this is my own statement, I hope I'm right, but I think he's even less interested in the fact that all the Jewish people are going to be killed versus why are they going to be killed? And the reason that such a gezerah, such a decree could happen to the Jewish people is because they were so distant from Hashem. That's the only reason such a decree could happen. So Moshe is not worried. No, go ahead, David. Moshe is not worried. I told you, one-on-one is perfect. I'm not a. Moshe is not worried, which is Mordechai, the Moshe of his generation, is not worried. I shouldn't say he's not worried. He's not as worried about the fact that all the Jewish people are about to be killed as much as he's worried, why would Hashem let all the Jewish people be killed? And the only reason Hashem would possibly let such a thing happen is because the Jews were disconnected from Hashem. So his objective at that point is not just to make sure that the tragedy doesn't happen. His objective is to make sure that the reason the tragedy was about to happen should no longer exist. And that reason was the distance between Hashem and the Jewish people. So what does Mordechai do? Is he brings the Jewish people back to connect them to Hashem. Because that's the job of a Moshe. That's what he does. So Mordechai is an example.
So that was why it was stopped, the decree.
The decree was not stopped because then he goes and he does the political things with his niece and asks his niece to go speak to the king. But that's not how he begins this story because that's not what the story's about. Mordechai in his generation, says the Talmud, is like Moshe in his generation. That is from the Talmud, by the way. That one I told, the other thing I told you is from the Kabbalah. This is from the Talmud. Mordechai in his generation, like, not only that, it says that um, that um, in the verse in the Megillah, it says that the Jewish people accepted that which they had begun earlier. There's a verse that says those words. And the Talmud, they accepted, aceptaron lo que empezaron antes. La palabra del. So the Gemara is asking, what are you talking about? Just like you said. What did they accept? What did they start? What is this verse? It's like this weird verse that just drops in out of nowhere. The Talmud tells us they finally accepted the Torah, which means the job that Moshe began, again, Moshe, the job that Moshe began 1,300 years earlier, no, it's less, 800 years earlier, was finally completed by Mordechai.
So a generation, you would say it's how many, like,
I didn't answer your question yet.
no, but before Mordechai, there was Shmuel.
There was many. I'm just using some examples that are famous.
Because it says a generation.
Yeah.
Is it a new generation already after the Rebbe? Or
But that I didn't answer that question yet. Hopefully I'll get there. I'm not promising. So what's the point? Why is it? How is it that the Jewish people who had just seen Hashem ayin ba'ayin, they just saw the way Hashem split the sea. True, they were slaves, and true that they wind up ultimately rebelling against Hashem, like last week's parsha, right? When they all Hashem said, "You're not going to go to Israel because you guys can't handle it." But nonetheless, they had achieved this very high level to be able to go through the sea and then to see the. And the Jews of Haman's time, meaning of Mordechai's time, were sinning terribly, which is why the decree was able to happen. How could it be that these Jews, the sinners, complete the work of the holy Jews of the desert? And the answer is because they did it with Mesiras Nefesh. That's a big word, maybe the most important word. Mesiras Nefesh. That's the Ashkenazic pronunciation. The Israeli and Sephardic pronunciation would be Mesirat Nefesh. We mentioned that earlier in the Tanya. We spoke about it in the Tanya.
miracle with
Mesirat Nefesh literally means to give over your life. They were willing to give their lives for the Torah. And what Mordechai did was exactly that. Mordechai dragged out from inside of their souls the essence of their soul so that they were ready to give their lives for the Torah. And that's really ultimately the job of Moshe Rabbeinu, of every generation.
did the Rebbe did something like
I
that?
believe so. I absolutely believe so.
Like
So now let's go to the
example
Rebbe.
that you said that
Yes.
he was put to life sentence.
So that would have been a previous Rebbe. This Rebbe was never a life
The
sentence.
thought.
The father-in-law, right? But I agree. The father-in-law would be a good example
Of the previous.
of last generation. That's right. He was that person in the last generation who was not only concerned about Chabad Hasidim. There were many great rabbis, but for the most part, they were concerned about their group, which is not a bad thing. I'm not knocking anybody, but and they were very close with their Hasidim, and they brought their Hasidim as close as they could to Hashem, no question. The Rebbe was concerned about every Jew. Doesn't matter where they are, doesn't matter how they're holding. That's what made him unique. And the previous Rebbe likewise. The previous Rebbe asked his Chasidim to have Mesiras Nefesh, just like Mordechai did. But he meant literally. We know people whose grandparents were put to death because they were teaching kids Torah. That means people who me and Hindi grew up with. Their grandparents were shot in the head because they were teaching people Torah
In where?
Russia.
in Russia,
Oh.
literally. And that's what the previous Rebbe demanded of them. Many of them weren't shot in the head. They went to Siberia. They were taken away, and these were young men. So these were men with families and kids. Kids who were 4 or 5, 6 years old, and they put their life on the line in order to teach Torah. That's what the previous Rebbe demanded of them, and they did it. And you could argue and say, "What are you crazy? I have kids. Forget my life. I'm going to ruin my kids' life. I'll teach Torah. I'll teach my kids Torah. I'll learn Torah myself. But I have to go out and teach other kids Torah to people who hardly are keeping Shabbat, or maybe not even keeping Shabbat at all. I'm going to go teach them Torah, and then I'm going to get my life destroyed, and my kids' lives destroyed, and my wife's life. Who gives you the right to ask me such a question? That's crazy. That's idolatry. What do they call it? You're a cult.
So that was not okay.
No, it is okay. People could argue that. But the Hasidim said, no, this is our Moshe Rabbeinu. Our Moshe Rabbeinu tells us to do it. We go do it. And we do it with happy. It's good. And it is right.
My question is the picture.
Okay, we're not almost there. Almost there.
Is
Oh,
that
it's 9:16. Okay. 9:16. Okay.
okay with it?
9:16. So now let's go to our Rebbe. Our Rebbe clearly, if I could tell you the amount of stories, the amount of crazy that forget what a great Torah scholar he was, which he was literally one of the greatest. I would say the greatest. Others will argue with me. I don't care. That's not my argument for today. The greatest Torah scholar of our generation. In Torah scholarship, I'm not talking about his leadership. I'm talking about how much Torah he knew and how he was able to teach it and how he was able to understand it. I think he was the greatest of our generation. Others will argue with me. I don't care. That's another conversation. Then his leadership abilities you were speaking about. But forget all that. Literally forget all that. His interest in one Jew in Africa, who is a Jew who doesn't keep Shabbos, who doesn't agree with him. His interest in an individual human being, an individual Jew at the edge of the world, in Africa, in Asia, in Australia, wherever it is. That to me is the most remarkable. That's what makes him a Moshe. That's the real Moshe Rabbeinu part of it, in my opinion. Argue with me. I don't care. Everyone can argue with me.
Okay, so great
Coming-
Torah scholar, the leader abilities, the interest in his prophecies.
Prophecies, no question, in one form or another. Many, 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 many. I'll give you a great example. So people can debate this again.
Everything.
I believe so, no question. On an individual level, and even on a what's the cut level? Even on a level where we're
Even still, that
yeah.
no, that he wrote a lot of things. Some of the things he wrote happened later. Like you can see that he died, but some of the things he saw happened. No,
I definitely agree with that.
Where can I start with that?
And there's so much. There's so much. But one of the examples that I think is most interesting, and I'll maybe we'll actually watch a little bit of this because I know it's late. What's your schedules? You guys are running, or we're already 9:20 almost.
I have to take a call 5 minutes and I can come back. But
Okay,
I have
let's see.
schedule.
Let's see if we have a couple more minutes. I don't know because we'll see if what's his name shows up.
No, I have all the time, but I have to take a call that I said I call you in 10 minutes.
Okay, so let me just say that I think what makes him a Moshe Rabbeinu is his absolute concern for every Jew, no matter where they are, and that is why we are here in Sky Lake, and there's people like us all around the world. It's not because we're so special; it's because the Rebbe was concerned about you guys. You know what I'm saying? Because of his concern about you guys, he asked me and people like me to dedicate our lives to this.
I like your analogy. With the seven.
And the 70 others. The only thing is that was okay. Sure, I'll go with it. Hindi wants to go with it. I feel uncomfortable with it. but it's not wrong.
Because you're very humble. But
I'm much more humble than you think I am. I'm just kidding.
I know.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm
I
joking.
mean, I-
I'm joking. No, but I do feel uncomfortable with that. But for specific, whatever. That's another. Let's not. So my point is coming back to the um is that it's his concern for every Jew that made this modern Chabad movement. It's not that he decided, let me build an empire. He wasn't interested in any empires. And he wasn't interested in becoming the most influential leader of the Jewish people for the past 500 years. That was not his interest. His interest was you. How am I going to get to you? I'm going to send Rafi and Hindi. That was it. His interest was in every person, and that's Moshe. That is what a Moshe is. That's literally what a Moshe is. The other things are all true. Great Torah scholar, maybe the greatest. Great this, great that, great the other thing. That's all true. But what makes it Moshe is his interest in every single Jew. And that's unique among all Jewish leaders, even of today's generation. Now, you're going to ask about we have two questions left to answer. One is generations, and one is pictures. Okay, so generations, I don't have a great answer. I know the way I think about it, but it's not a great answer. It's not. Because generations normally, even in the Chabad movement, basically we look at the generations being when one Rebbe passed away, another Rebbe took over, and that was the next generation. That's the way it was viewed, even in the Chabad movement. Forget any other space. That's the normal way of looking at things. However, I can say certain things with certainty. And then what I don't know, and I could say what I don't know. With certainty, I could tell you that the Rebbe always viewed this generation as being the generation of the previous Rebbe. When he would speak, you listen to his language 24/7. He was always mentioning his father-in-law, as if his father-in-law was sitting there Rebbeing. That's the way he looked at it.
Did he speak in English or
Mostly in Yiddish.
so he would have a translator?
Yeah.
If you were sitting there, they would give you a little.
Well, it
you might
depends.
get
It's
a
for
little-
certain
if
of
you
the
wanted-
bigger Farbrengens.
you
Lots of
wanted
times there were no
to-
translators. If he was speaking one-on-one with you, for example, he would have spoken to you in English.
Or Spanish.
Yeah.
He spoke like almost everyone.
I don't know about that, but he spoke at least 10 or 12 languages for sure. Well, yeah. Um,
But his writings are in Yiddish or Hebrew?
he didn't write anything, almost anything. Almost everything that we have from him was spoken. Different than other rabbis. All those blue books
Okay.
are the edited speeches. His unedited speeches would take those three bookshelves. And we have them. People have them.
Okay, Eva, now we have to, if we want to learn about it, we have
Yeah.
a lot to read.
Oh my gosh, forget it. To read, you can watch. There's so much to do. I'll send some stuff out. Yeah. So, but most of it was spoken, and most of it was spoken primarily at Fabring gigs.
But there was a very specific way that was listened to, and then they would. It was a special group of people that were like geniuses. Rafi knew some of them. They had like some kids there, boys there that were 13,
Boys,
but they
man,
were
everything.
genius up until 80-year-olds. It was a small little group. They would memorize word for word what he said,
Wow.
and then they would corroborate.
That's if it was on Shabbos or
Yeah.
Yom Tov. If it was in a weekday, then they had
and
it.
then they would get handed in to the Rebbe what,
Sometimes, yeah.
For him to correct.
and
Right.
he would edit it.
But those are the edited versions. The unedited were not edited. So where were we?
Generation.
Oh, generation. So the Rebbe, if you listen to him speak, he's always speaking about his father-in-law as if he is present. And that is something that we definitely believe. We have it from the first Rebbe in the Tanya. He writes about another great tzaddik who had passed away, and he writes to his Hasidim, don't be so upset that your Rebbe passed away, because in a certain way he's with you even more when he's not in a body. When he's in a body, he's limited in a certain way to time and space. When he's not in a body, says the Alter Rebbe, the author of the Tanya, you're able to connect to him even more in a certain way. Obviously, that's not the way we want it because we, like people, we're regular humans, regular eyes. Our chas v'shalom, my father just passed away a year ago. It's much nicer if they're in front of you and you can give them a hug and you can talk to them and these things. That's the way we feel about the Rebbe too. But on the other hand, we saw from the Rebbe how he looked at his Rebbe, meaning the previous Rebbe, and we follow the same path. Okay.
Always keep him alive.
Yes, yes, yes. Ma zari b'chaim, afu b'chaim. Just as his descendants, spiritual or physical, are alive, so too he remains alive. So to us, in certain ways, we connect him even more than when he was here on this earth. So that's part of the answer about generations. That's not a perfect answer. I admit. There's problems with that answer, but that is an answer. In terms of pictures, sure, sometimes it could get out of hand a little bit. You know what I'm saying? A little bit, but it doesn't bother me at all that people have pictures, because it's one more way to. Why do you, can I see your phone for a second? That's a picture of our daughter.
The favorite one.
Yeah. Why does she have a picture of her daughter?
Because
You don't need a
know.
picture. Yeah. And you want to see them. And when you see them, look, does she love her without the picture? Yeah. Do you need a picture? You don't need a picture.
By in Judaism, it's forbidden to have.
Pictures of Hashem. It's not a picture of Hashem. That's not Hashem. That's the Rebbe. That's Moshe. It's not Hashem.
So you think in those times, if they had printers, they would have
Why
pictures
not?
of Moshe?
Why not? That's why I'm saying. You asked me if when the Rebbe was alive there was as many pictures. Of course not, because there was not as much printed, and there was not as many visuals. Life wasn't as visual then. Period. But there were pictures. There were many pictures, but it was not nearly as visual as it is today. Today, we print things 24/7. Forget printing. You have everything's visual today. That's your job. You know what I'm saying? We're so visual today. It's unbelievable. So what? I'm going to look at Taylor Swift. I'd rather. Well,
Is it okay to make like a piece of art from the picture of the
why
Rebbe?
not?
Yes.
People did. Why not?
Well, a sculpture.
No, sculpture.
Sculptures are problematic. More problematic. Sculptures would be more problematic. But just regular art, sure. I mean, two-dimensional,
A lot of artists.
of course, of course. Yeah. So to me, it's as simple as that. Look at how much we spend on visual today. We're literally like this all day. I was at my daughter's graduation yesterday, and this is what all the fathers looked like. The whole graduation. It's just looking at their boom, boom, boom. Just looking. Our whole life is visual today. So, which visuals do you want? I prefer this visual over another over the what's it called, the World Cup.
So we have the pictures because we love the Rebbe.
Yeah,
It's more like
yeah, or to
remind
to
me,
strengthen
I
our
have these
connection.
pictures
Yes,
with
yes,
all
yes,
my kids.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, 100%. But is
It's
that
a way
weird?
to show love. It's a way to connect.
It's a way to
reminder.
a reminder. Yeah, mostly I would say the last, the
Actually,
reminder.
it was even I know the Rebbe wrote letters sometimes that if people were having bad dreams before they went to bed, the Rebbe said you should look at a picture of the previous Rebbe. That should be like the last visual.
We're very visual people. That's who we are. God made us this way.
Call it forth in your mind a visual of the Rebbe. Like all these things they're holy people. Could be, I don't know, anybody, but a tzaddik, a holy person.
If you can't sleep, you think about the Rebbe. That's
That was it
She's
was a
saying if
letter.
somebody had nightmares.
So, I can't remember. It's nightmares,
Well,
whatever. But
I have nightmares, so I should
Yeah.
do something.
Well, used to change Shema. There's a whole long Shema to say.
And make sure mezuzahs are kosher.
So there's a whole list of this. I mean,
Mhm.
we have some books where the Rebbe has all these answers for everybody writes the Rebbe with all different kinds of things, nightmares, this, that. And one of the suggestions was
Well, I wouldn't call them nightmares. It's more like very real
real dreams.
dreams that I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm in my room.
Wow. Claro.
Vivid dreams.
Claro.
Vivid dreams.
So anyhow, I hope I answered some of the questions. Oh, there's Zach. Is he saying? He's not coming
Where
today.
can we, where can I study more about the Rebbe, like in a way that it's easy to understand? Like I need easy because
I'll make a couple observations. First of all, nothing that is easy is really very good.
Chabad.org has
No,
great
don't run ahead. Nothing that is easy is very good. Okay, that's important to know.
to understand to me. O sea, it's not that
I
I'm
understand.
listening to him in Yiddish. O sea,
No, I get it. I get it. I'm just the reason Hindi's right. Chabad.org is fantastic. But before you go there, you have to understand that developing meaningful relationships with anybody or anything does not is not just listening to one more podcast or watching one more video. Those are good. Those are steps.
Yeah, I
Those are important.
open your
It's really in your mind and in your heart and really thinking about things. Think about some of the ideas we said today. You don't have to agree with anything I said, by the way, but just open. What I hope I did was I opened your mind to a different, to the fact that it's not what we're used to. You know what I'm saying? We were always taught. I was always taught in a way, even though I went to Chabad yeshivas and everything. You always hear Judaism is all about questions. Okay, questions are accepted, but Judaism is not about questions. Judaism is about faith. That's the opposite of questions. It's not about questions. Questions are important, but they're not, and we accept questions and we're open to questions.
that's how you learn.
But that's not what it
because
is.
Hashem said we should
No, that's how you learn.
Yes, but
Asking
that's not what it
questions.
is. What it is, Judaism is about faith. And what is the faith? The faith is in Vayaminu B'Hashem, faith in God.
No, that.
Uva Moshe Avdei, and in Moses, his servant.
How about those letters that people ask a letter to the Rebbe and then they
It's a good question. The Rebbe himself, it has a source. Well, there's much more ancient sources, but the source of the modern source was the Rebbe himself, where again, after the passing of his father-in-law, the previous Rebbe, he said, "You can write a letter to my father-in-law, and he'll find a way to get you an answer." That's the source. I believe it's 100% true.
okay, so what about sending a letter that you wrote in your computer to the Ohel
I think that's
of the
great.
Rebbe?
I think
Who
that's great.
received that letter?
Oh, so okay, so let me give you some practical thing. Now you asked something more specific than what I answered. You
Yeah.
asked specifically about putting it into a book,
Mhm,
opening the book, and
mhm.
getting the answer.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not fighting against it,
Okay.
but I'm not the biggest fan.
Why?
Why? Because I believe that when you open these other letters and you start to read what it says and then try and inject the meaning that you're either hoping for or maybe even the meaning that you're not hoping for, you're injecting meaning into something that doesn't necessarily mean what you read.
It could be more like a casualidad
I think there could be a lot of ways for the Rebbe did not, when the Rebbe's statement that he will find a way to get you an answer was not that he's going to find this way to get you an answer. He'll find a way to get you an answer. Okay. And we don't know what that way is going to look like necessarily. That's my opinion. I don't believe so much that we can choose and that we're so great that we can tell the Rebbe how to find the answer to me. And the way I'm going to find it is by opening this book. And when I open this book, the answer is going to be sitting there in front of my eyes. I don't know that that's true. But other people do believe it's true, and I'm not going to fight them. I'm not interested in that fight. But it's not. I don't. I'm not a big fan. But I am a big fan of writing to the Rebbe.
Okay, and how would you receive it?
I don't know.
You'll receive
But if I send that
no,
letter,
no, you'll receive
the
the
mail, who's opening that?
Okay, so now what happens practically when you send a letter to the OHEL by um, internet, however it is by phone or this or that, all they do is they print it. Nobody looks at it. Nobody reads it. They print it. They bring it to the Rebbe's grave, and they rip it up. That's what they do. If you ask them to, they'll read it there. But otherwise, they just take it, print it, rip it, yallah. That's what happens.
And what happened if you wrote something to the? No, this is
How do I get my answers? I don't know how I get my answers, and sometimes I feel like I don't. That's the
But
truth.
That if you wrote.
But I
something
also
that
sometimes feel like I
you don't, you decide that this is why I wrote that.
explain on the end.
no, it's like sometimes I speak to God and you ask God a
Sometimes you
question,
should
and
supposed to
sometimes
speak
you
to God
get
all
the
the time.
answer, and
So good.
sometimes you don't.
I think you always get the answer, but sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not clear, and sometimes you
You don't
want the answer, and sometimes you
to
don't want the
hear the
answer. Yeah,
answer.
yeah. Sometimes all the above. But I think that the answers come. And we don't always, again, we're not always open
And
for it, and
maybe
it's not always
the
clear.
time for maybe you have to wait
Yes,
to be
also,
ready for the answer.
also,
It's not that
also,
you have the
also.
answer, but you're not ready
I
to.
agree with all that. I agree with all that. So yeah, that's what I would say. I'll send some videos, and I hope that you guys will take a chance to, unless you want to watch them now. I know you have to go. I'll send some videos.
Fine.
I'll put it on the chat. I'll put some videos on the chat. Just watch a couple of them. Okay, I'll put like a lot of them, too many, and you choose ones that look
Yeah.
interesting to you.
But Rebbe, the Rebbe.org is like a thing that Chabad.org has. It's also a really beautiful site. So Rebbe.org, and they have a lot of beautiful stories in there, people writing in their own, experiences, and
Yeah, there's
just regular people. They tell some.
they're telling their own stories, what happened, their really
You don't
their
have to
things
believe
that
it
happened.
all.
Yeah.
That's what it says about the Baal Shem
Yeah,
Tov.
send us some videos. So
I'll send some videos. I'll send all different kinds. I'll send some of the Rebbe himself speaking, and then I'll send some videos of other people speaking about their
experience.
experiences.
Okay.
I'll send like 10 videos. I don't know, I'm making up a number. Okay, you do what you want with them. Some will be short, some will be long. You decide where you want to go with it. Okay,
Thank you so much.
very good. Okay,
Thank you.
I think next week
Thank you.
I'm thinking as a topic. If you guys have topics, I'm open. In other words, this is these summer weeks, but we could do Mashiach if you want next week.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would love
Okay,
to.
I think we'll do 2 weeks on Mashiach then.
Write it on the chat.
Okay, I'll put it
More
in the
people will come.
Okay,
Yes.
very
No, I think it's a hard time of the year because
Of
people
course.
are. My
sure.
sister was the one who called me. She said hi.
Okay, thank you. But that's why I'm doing it this way, is so that just everything's standalone. So if you come one week, it's
Exactly.
completely.
Thank you so much.
And
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you.
Be well.
Keep asking.
I didn't.